I've come to beg for forgiveness for pronouncing Shin Megami Tensei as Shin Megami Tensei in part 1. But for real, I don't know why I thought it was pronounced that way, but I'm not gonna make excuses. I try not to fight things if I'm objectively wrong, unlike a lot of other people online these days. Thank you for watching part 1 if you did, and if you haven't, I'll put a link in the description. It gives me motivation to continue making videos. That said, let's just get into SMT5. So unlike SMT4, my memory of SMT5 is much clearer. That's because the last time I played was around the time it was released. I don't count the hour or so I played recently because I played just to capture footage. But because my memory is clearer, I'm going to go a bit deeper into this game. With SMT4, I mainly talked about the plot and the fact that you make choices that affect the ending. Now, I don't really want to start with negativity, as I still really like SMT5, but the setting is one of my only complaints about the game. SMT4 had one of my favorite gaming settings of any game ever, but keeping it vague for spoilers, most of SMT5 takes place in a location that both is and isn't the human realm. That probably doesn't make sense to someone new to the game, but if you've played it then you know what I mean. There are moments where the worlds cross, but these aren't as common as I'd personally like. The best example I can give without going too deep into it is imagine a normal Persona setting, where there is the human world and then there's a world filled with demons. In Persona, you are constantly jumping between those two worlds, and the damage that the demon world causes ramps up as you continue through the game. With SMT5 it's very similar, but these crossover moments don't happen nearly as much, and you end up spending most of your time in the demon world. A positive to this is there are tons of quests where the NPCs are interesting demons that make you think about whether you want to kill them or not, but a negative is that you don't interact nearly as much with human NPCs. Continuing on to choices, the ending isn't really affected by choices as it is by quests that you do or don't do. On one hand, it's nice not getting locked into a particular ending that you don't want, but on the other hand, it kinda sucks knowing that some of your choices really didn't matter and you probably overthought them. And while we're still on complaints, let me get my last one out there. This one could be easily fixed, but it's the fact that on Switch, which is where the gameplay you are watching comes from, is that the game can sometimes be graphically and technically poor. Now, I've seen much worse frame rate, but the biggest issue is with pop-in, both texture and model pop-in. I remember when I first played it seeing characters at the school that were half loaded and moving at less than 10 FPS. Though to give the game credit, there are times when you are speaking with a named character or you are in battle where the game actually looks pretty decent. These issues will likely be fixed on the next Switch or if the game gets ported to other systems. Now with all the negativity out of the way, let's talk about what I actually like about SMT5. I just talked about the graphical and technical issues being a negative, but I'd be lying if I said that some of the demons in this game weren't some of the coolest designs I've seen. Some demons even have exclusive attacks and custom animations like Mermaid and this one demon whose name I'm not going to attempt and butcher like I did Shin Megami Tensei. I even like most of the designs for the human characters. I actually prefer the look of the protagonist of 5 than I do 4. Even his transformation looks cool. Another nice thing about the visuals is that you can see what an enemy is before entering combat, and that both your character and the enemies are fully 3D. This might sound completely odd in 2013, but because of the hardware of the 3DS, sacrifices had to be made for SMT4. But who knows, maybe one day they will remake 4 in the similar style of 5. The last major thing I need to talk about is the overall gameplay. Even though I mentioned dialogue choices getting nerfed from 4, one thing they didn't nerf is the difficulty. There are 3 difficulty modes and they added a 4th called Safety, which is the easiest mode. I'd personally add +1 to each of them, where normal feels like hard and easy feels like normal. So just like SMT4, expect the difficulty to make its presence felt early on, where a normal mob might one-shot your entire team. But yeah, I can't complain about the moment-to-moment gameplay. It reminds me of the changes they made to Persona 5 with Royal, where they added a bit of platforming. It feels smooth just running through the areas, defeating mobs, and collecting items in and out of dungeons. Some of the areas are really dense and you might get lost. I remember getting lost in the area containing the fire giant because there are tons of fallen buildings and a lot of them look the same, and so you'll be retracking the same areas again and again. Overall, there's not much I would change as far as the main gameplay is concerned. Nothing stands out as having been overly annoying other than the reoccurring need to level up and fuse demons because I'm getting stomped by normal mobs. And I think that's everything I want to talk about regarding SMT5. I recommend the game, but if you haven't played it, I would wait. I would wait until the game receives an upgrade on the next Nintendo system, or till it gets ported to PC, PS5, or Xbox Series X/S. I think if you're willing to wait, you'll be rewarded with a better experience, because even though this game is great, it could be made even better with changes here and there to the graphics and technical performance. But thank you for watching. Like and subscribe if you want to see more, and I'll see you in whatever my next video is. Peace.